The Denver Nuggets had an incredible run in the playoffs last year. And now their team is a bit different. They've retooled, but they're still contenders in the Western Conference Finals. I think this is a team that has just started their age of contention. We're going to see this for many more years. So, what is there to expect from the Denver Nuggets? What is there to see from the Denver Nuggets? What can they grow from? What can they maybe be worse at? What could they end up becoming this season? Let's talk about it. What to expect from the Denver Nuggets. Let's go. I think losing Jeremy Grant is such a big loss. I didn't expect him to happen. I love watching that play during the playoffs where Jokic was in kind of like the high to mid low post, and not a low post, but high to mid post. And then you had it was kind of like a triangle because Jeremy Grant would cut in between Jamal and Jokic would receive the ball from Jamal and then dump it behind his back to Jeremy, who was cutting to the basket. Loved that play, and I really thought that they were going to grow on that. But as a player I talk about later in this video, I think he'll be able to replace, hopefully, Jeremy Grant. Miles Plumlee, love the guy, great hustler, a little bit older. I think Isaiah Hardenstein, who I'll talk about also later, has a chance to replace him. But, I think they just realized they had to let these two guys walk. I love talking about each team's draft picks first, so let's talk about RJ Hampton. Yeah, I know he wasn't the first team's draft pick. They drafted him at the 24th, but RJ Hampton, perfect. I did not expect him to go here, but you know what? I'm happy that he went here due to the fact that Denver is probably not going to keep Monte Morris once his contract goes up. And RJ Hampton will be able to become the backup point guard for Jamal Murray. And this guy is a guy who has the size to be a good defender. Not an insane defender, but an adequate defender. Has the length to, get some steals, get in the passing lanes, get some interceptions. And I think what he could develop into is a guy who can attack the rim and drive and kick, or he'll be able to find a way to start drawing fouls and we'll see him on the line a lot. Or he'll just become a guy who'll average like 12 points and like 5 assists. If he stays a backup, I could really see that and be a really good player. But he could develop into like an actual all-star. I think has that potential. I don't know if it'll happen. I already know somebody out there is going to be like, you're not going to say this correctly. Zeke Nanje. I hope I said that correctly. Look, he's 6'11", 240, 19 years old, out of Arizona. I remember when I first originally did research on him, he was actually 6'9", so he's actually grown a little bit. And he is a phenomenal player coming out of Arizona. Surprisingly, I did not expect him to fly up the draft boards like he did. But Zeke Nanje just flew up the draft boards after what was his freshman year at Arizona. He was in the recruiting class with Nico Mannion, Josh Green, and who was the third guy? I completely forgot. Josh Green, Nico Mannion, Zeke Nanje. Was there a third guy? I swear there was a third guy. I could be wrong, but I'm not worried about it. He had a great rookie year or freshman year. 16 points, about 0.9 blocks per game, so 1 block per game, 0.7 steals a game, so about a steal a game, 0.8 assists per game, about an assist a game, 8.6 rebounds to go with the 16 points per game, almost 30% from 3, 57% from the field goal at 30 minutes per game. That's really good for the big guy. I can see him playing some light minutes. That's why I think they were fine with getting rid of Jeremy Grant, is because I think they're really confident that this guy can replace his role. Y'all signed to a 2-way contract Red Whittington, who's a guy who played ball over Euroseas after leaving the G League. He played at Georgetown and tore his ACL. Nothing really special. He might not make the roster. If he does, he's just like a 3 and hustle guy. Marcus Howard out of Marquette. Ooh, I like this cat. Marcus Howard has he's not the most athletic guy on the court, but he has this athleticism that he knows how to use it to his advantage. It's not like he's a limited player in the sense that he won't be able to play well because he's limited athletically. I think he's athletic enough to play in the NBA. I also think that he knows how to use his athleticism to score in bunches and in droves. He's a great shooter. Look, last year, let's just talk last year. He scored 27.8 points at 41% from 3, 42% from the field goal. He had about 0.9 steals. He averaged a steal a game through college, about 3 assists a game, 3.5 rebounds. Not really a blocker, but look, this guy can put bunches up in points, or points in bunches. So I'm really, and his older brother's a like European basketball or like an international basketball player, Jordan Howard. So he comes from a basketball family. I think he's another guy who battle out the point guard position with what's his face in a few years, RJ Hampton. If Marcus Howard does develop and RJ Hampton doesn't, we can see Marcus Howard battling for it or just fizzle out of the league. I wish I could say that like I knew a thorough amount of this guy's game, but Isaiah Hartenstein, tell me if I said that correctly, is an interesting player. He's going to be 22 years old when this season goes on. But if we look at his averages last year, he played 23 games and started 2 of them for the Houston Rockets. Averaged 4.7 points in 11.6 minutes per game. And he had about 4 total rebounds to go with that, about half a block shot. You know, nothing really special, but he did get 1.3 offensive rebounds. I really feel like those are numbers we can't put into aspect. And his 36 per minutes would be like 14 and 12, and I could see him being a really good replacement for Miles Plumlee, maybe a little bit more athletic. I don't know much about him, but you know, he was recently drafted and he played in the top league in Europe, so he has to have some sort of skill in my opinion. This team's interesting now. How is this team going to run? Let me just look at the lineup. I think the point guard is so apparent, obviously Jamal Murray. Then at shooting guard, who are you going to play? Will Barton, Gary Harris? You know, that is interesting. They did bring in Facundo Campazzo, who technically is a rookie, but he's not really a rookie. I really do like him. He'll probably fight for backup point guard with Monty Morris. But then you got JaMychal Green, who's a power forward. None of the rookies are going to do anything. They did leave Keita Bates-Diop, Tyler Cook, Torrey Craig, Troy Daniels, Jeremy Grant, Mason Plumlee. Did I say Miles Plumlee? Hopefully I didn't say that earlier. Noah Vonleh. But no, over here you got Will Barton or Gary Harris. Gary Harris was some ass during the playoffs, but Will Barton, not that bad. But, you know, I'm like kind of like confused. Could you run Jamal Murray? And I guess you'll continue with the Gary Harris, Will Barton duo right there. At small forward, you're hoping Michael Porter Jr. will finally go off. You could play P.J. Dozier at shooting guard. I know he's a little bit more defensive, but obviously I'm kidding. That's not going to happen. Michael Porter Jr. at small forward with either Paul Millsap or Bol Bol next to him. That's what's going to happen. And that's what I feel like it should happen. I know Bol Bol is now technically on his first time on a real deal, so be interested to see what happened there. I think Paul Millsap will play the beginning of the season, but more as the season progresses, we'll see Bol Bol at the small power forward position. Then center, obviously, Jokic, backed up by Isaiah Hartenstein. Then, you know, we got Paul Millsap, Bol Bol, JaMychal Green. Then I assume it's Michael Porter Jr. Oh, you know, behind the power forward is Zeke Nnaji too, but Michael Porter Jr., I guess it's Vlatko Kankar. I think this is going to be a really good team for Mike Malone to coach. It'll be really interesting to see how he handles it, how he goes under pressure. Like, I don't know, it's a really cool team. So let me know down below what you guys think of this NBA squad. As always, guys, I hope you guys have a great day, because I know I will. Till next, guys, peace out.